U.S. Marshals Teddy Daniels, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Throw All, imprint Ruffalo, are on a ferryboat in hazy Boston Harbor headed towards Screen Island, an island containing a government mental clinic for the criminally crazy. They are going to the island in light of the fact that a lady patient named Rachel got away from the other day. Teddy is extremely sick, perspiring and hurling in the latrine, advising himself to take care of business, it's simply water. Then, at that point, he peers through the window and says it's a great deal of water. He goes up at hand to converse with Throw, and it's evident that they are new accomplices working interestingly together. During their discussion it is uncovered that Teddy's significant other passed on in a condo fire quite a long while previously. Toss is sorry he brought it up. He alludes to Teddy as supervisor the whole way through the film, and at one point makes reference to that Teddy is a legend, so we realize that Teddy is notable through the Marshall administration and that he is Throw's boss. They get to the island, and the ship chief notices that there is a major tempest coming. Teddy and Toss meet the appointee superintendent, McPherson, who brings them into the psychological emergency clinic grounds. There are high walls that make it seem to be a jail, and zapped wire on the border. However, the genuine structures and grounds seem to be a school grounds. There is the A structure, lodging the male patients, B working for the ladies' patients, and C structure which is arranged on the most noteworthy mark of the island, and we are informed it was a nationwide conflict stronghold. It houses the most risky patients, and the marshals are informed that by no means are they to go there all alone without McPherson and Dr. Colley, Ben Kingsley, going with them. There is a short contention when Delegate Superintendent McPherson expects them to surrender their guns. Teddy says that they are government specialists, however McPherson lets them know that administrative prison regulation abrogates that and says that they will not overcome the doors with their weapons. They hesitantly surrender them, with Throw rather cumbersomely eliminating his holster from his jeans, which gets him a look from McPherson and Teddy. They meet Dr. Colley, who makes sense of a piece about the office and psychiatry. Dr. Colley expresses that there is a conflict happening in psychiatry, with one group who trusts in careful methods like lobotomies to treat patients, where another side says that the new psychotropic medications are the method for treating individuals. He trusts that occasionally paying attention to a patient and unobtrusively making their life agreeable is the best approach. Teddy actually has a parting cerebral pain from the ship trip, and the specialist gives him a few water and a few pills that he says are ibuprofen. He makes sense of that Rachel, a patient, has gotten away from the prior night, however says that it's unimaginable on the grounds that she appears to have basically evaporated through the walls. She is at Shade Island since she suffocated 3 of her youngsters individually, and afterward imagined that they had never kicked the bucket. Truth be told, she accepts that she is currently at her home at the emergency clinic, and the entirety of the staff and different detainees are just neighbors or delivery men that she experiences in her day-to-day routine. She will not acknowledge that she has killed anybody, or even that her kids are dead. They visit the remainder of the island, where officials are searching for the got away from Rachel. There is a beacon on the opposite side of the island that is gated off, and there are outfitted watchmen, which makes Teddy somewhat dubious. Teddy clarifies that his responsibility is to talk with staff and patients. He says he really wants the faculty records of the staff, however the specialist sort of brushes that off. They go to the patient living quarters and interview staff about the night that Rachel left. In her cell, there is a free wood plank and a transcribed note from her, saying, "The law of 4. Who is 67? The staff are not exactly accommodating at the gathering that Teddy and Hurl need to get some information about her. Yet note that she had gone to bunch treatment just before she went to her room and vanished. During the gathering, it is uncovered that she has a staff doctor who led the gathering, a drive. Shaheen. At the point when Teddy asks where he is, Dr. Colley says he recently passed on that morning on the ship to go on a long-arranged getaway. Teddy is distrustful that a hazardous mental patient has recently gotten away, there's a lockdown, and her PCP is permitted to simply take some time off. Things certainly look dubious as of now. There are a progression of dream groupings mixed, flashbacks about Teddy's time in World War II as a warrior, and Teddy frequently has inward discussions with himself in which his dead spouse, Dolores, Michelle Williams, converses with him and offers him guidance. In one flashback, Teddy's unit is quick to free the Dachau death camp. There are numerous dead Jews. Teddy is particularly moved by a dead lady and her dead little girl in her arms in a heap of dead bodies. Teddy watched the German camp administrator endeavor self-destruction by shooting himself, yet he just injures himself, shooting himself in the side of his face. The German attempts to arrive at his weapon to complete the task, yet Teddy gradually slides the firearm away with his foot barely far away from the German, watching him endure before he drains to death. In different dreams, his significant other finding that he has a great deal of void containers of liquor that he has concealed around the house. He makes sense of that the things he saw while in Germany are the motivation behind why he drinks to such an extent. After the gathering with staff, drive. Collie has Teddy and Hurl over to his manor on the island to have a stogie and something to drink. At the point when they show up, there is a drive. Neyering, Max von Sydow, in the Nook, and he is by all accounts drive. Collie's boss. Teddy takes a moment aversion to him when he sees a weak German pronunciation, and the two verbally fight for a smidgen. Dr. Neyering is entertained, remarking on Teddy's surprising safeguard components. Dr. Neyering calls Teddy and Hurl men of savagery, which annoys Toss. Yet, the specialist says he doesn't imply that they are vicious men, just that they are men who have seen savagery and don't avoid it if fundamental. He accurately gathers that they were both in the military during World War II, and that they weren't raised to take off from viciousness. Teddy blows up when they say that they've counseled the governing body who wouldn't deliver the staff's faculty records, furious enough that Teddy breaks a glass, takes steps to end the examination in the first part of the day and give his discoveries to the FBI, and tempests off while throwing a mini tantrum. The following day, the tempest has raised a ruckus around town and it is clear the ship won't show up. Teddy was just feigning the prior night as he has no aim of leaving without researching the island some more. Teddy and Throw have a few meetings with the patients who were in the gathering treatment meeting with Rachel. They are pointless and all appear to be following the content since they express fundamentally the same as things in their meetings. In one meeting, a lady requests Hurl for a glass from water and when he leaves, she snatches Teddy's notepad and composes something rapidly and gives it back to him. He and Hurl leave the emergency clinic grounds and investigate the island, winding up at the graveyard. The breeze and downpour are getting and they find safe haven in a burial ground vault. Throw requests that Teddy level with him. He thinks that the last understanding let him know something while he was getting her water, and Teddy at long last shows him the scratch pad, and it says run. Teddy at last makes sense of that he was attempting to get allotted to an examination of the psychological medical clinic for quite a while. He says that a man named Ladis was an upkeep specialist at the condo they lived in and he was the pyromaniac who set the fire that killed his better half. He got off on a detail, however later was gotten when he killed a few others. He was shipped off the psychological medical clinic here. However, when Teddy investigated it, there was no desk work by any means for Ladis, and he thinks that there is some more prominent connivance going on. He specifies the Nazi examinations and contemplates whether his own administration is engaged with psychotropic medication research too. He lets Toss know that he ran over a detainee by the name of George Noyce who was really sent here some time previously and he was the person who educated Teddy that there was some insane exploration happening here. All Hurl unexpectedly gets suspicious that perhaps in Teddy's looking around he made some unacceptable individuals aware of his premium in Screen Island and that perhaps they organized the vanishing of Rachel as a reason to draw him here as a marshal to research where they could make the two of them vanish. Teddy doesn't know that is conceivable, however Throw is really persuading and out of nowhere. The entryway busts in and there is a vehicle focus on them from depth. Superintendent McPherson's vehicle. He's been searching for themselves and they get in and he returns them to the clinic. They change out of their wet matching suits, and the systematic gives them the staff white garbs that nearly make them seem to be patients, and he lets them know that it will require a little while to get their suits back. In any case, they could do without the whites however take them. The Precise says their cigarettes were demolished, the two of them smoke a ton. Yet he gives them 2 new packs of cigs. They meet in Dr. Colley's office once more. They contend momentarily about the examination, and unexpectedly Teddy gets sick once more, a headache. He thinks he'll be okay, however at that point he begins to fall and Hurl gets him. The specialist provides him with 2 or 3 pills, yet Teddy would rather not take them. He's truly wiped out, however, and the specialist nearly demands that he take them, and he does. Hurl assists him down to the cellar with the remainder of the staff to endure the typhoon-like tempest. Not long before he naps off, he sees an evil-looking person, who a methodical says is the superintendent, Ted Levine, the executioner from Quietness of the Sheep. The superintendent sort of jeers at Teddy just before Teddy nods off. Teddy has another fantasy sequence. The end. Thanks you.